models. These are things that you have to have if you want to run an innovation program using social media. So these are the 5 elements: broker subgroups, active leadership, culture of trust, provide incentives, and integrate technology. And this is what I'm going to go into now, and I'll show you how they play out in the different models. Okay, broker subgroups. So I talked to you about how brokering is really critical. It is the critical function for innovation and to getting that diversity of opinion. How they do it is, so this is Yammer, and they do it by allowing people to have personal interest groups. Now, this is in Innocentive, do it with webinars. Well, they both do it with webinars, and also they do with teaming with peers, and I'll go into those. The reason why special interest groups, the largest group in the Deloitte network is mountain biking. Now, when I go into organisations about to encourage them to get on board with social media, the number one thing I keep hearing is, I don't want to have all these inane conversations. Because invariably someone posts, I'm going for lunch now. But what happens is, by having personal interest groups, it actually builds the pathways and the relationships so that when the pressure's on or there is an idea, that people are comfortable enough to actually then put it forward. So what appears to be quite trite is actually really critical to success in this platform. Webinars do the same thing because they get people discussing, they give people a central focus, they draw them in, and they build a platform of exchange around a common topic. So again, you're building those relationships. And the thing that Innocentive added semi-recently actually was this teaming with peers, so that you can actually do, if I've seen somebody work on a project previously and they're a genius and I want them in my team, I can actually bring them in and into my own little workspace area, and we can work on an issue together. Okay. Other one's points of discussion. You won't be able to read this one, so I'll do it for you. Okay, Andrew Barrow in Deloitte writes up this issue. Author of the DPay policy obviously never had to claim travel. Can you imagine how long it'll take to enter individual receipts for meals for a 3-month interstate stay? Andrew was really annoyed, really miffed that they changed the policy within Deloitte. Totally. Andrew Price came back. Oh. Yeah. No, seriously. It's a which? It's a fireman. Oh, shit. Poor, oh, jeez. Okay. Well, I hope it's okay. Yes, it seemed very important. Andrew Price came back and he said, Andrew, I'm the author of the DPay policy, and if you do this, this and this, it's no longer a problem. So you can see suddenly how, okay, so this is a small example of a process that's been shifted within an organisation, causing untold disruption, but suddenly the person that has the aggravation is connected to the person that has the solution. This would have taken ages to sort out previously. And now there's more to this story, and I will go into this one later on because there's a little more to it. NRMA do the same thing, so they post up questions on their Facebook wall and they try and churn up this activity so that they're building the relationships between their member base. And it's really common in Facebook now. You watch how people engage, and you can tell a good Facebook manager because they've got plenty of engagement on their page, whereas the ones that haven't quite found the formula yet, there's a lot of broadcast sort of messaging that goes on. This is something that Deloitte do that was really impressive to me, is because they know that getting diversity of opinion is really critical. They actually get their business partners to come in and join Deloitte for a period and give them access to the Yammer network. So suddenly they're actively cultivating the differences that sit within their client base and leveraging them for their own needs. So what happens with someone like Bryony is she comes in on exchange almost. She gets integrated into the Deloitte way and becomes an advocate of Deloitte. So she goes from being a fan to being a passionate advocate. And this, Bryony actually becomes tomorrow's customers as well. So they're thinking about this. They're bringing them along on a journey over time. Okay, the next one that you're going to need to have is active leadership. Active leadership and trust are quite similar, and I could have integrated them as one, but actually they're quite distinct. And I'll show you why. Okay, so this is the DPay policy one. Andrew Barrow, I'm the author of the DPay policy. DPay policy has obviously never had to claim travel, blah, blah, blah. Andrew came back and said, I'm the author of the DPay policy, do this. This seems like such a non-event, or it seems almost just like a bit of synchronicity within an organisation. But where it actually grabs weight is when you realise that Andrew Price is the CFO of Deloitte. This is a man with a lot on his plate. What happened after this was there were 76 responses throughout the organisation going, yes, I agree, this is a terrible change to the DPay policy. What the leadership did, Keith Skinner, Chief Operations Officer, they actually put up a website to take people's internal comments about the changes to policy and what people wanted to see in the policy. And at the end of it, they actually bought the per diems back, is what they were called. They actually just changed the policy back to what it used to be. And in that moment, the entire of Deloitte knew that the senior leadership team were interested in their opinion. It totally shifted the organisation in one exchange. Absolutely. Open it up. Everybody's allowed to comment. Everybody's opinion is valuable. But when you talk to people, this is their worst nightmare. This is what everybody's scared of. But actually, when you learn to embrace these things, they become your biggest selling points. The most opportunity that you will find occurs through disagreements on this platform and through you demonstrating your willingness to embrace debate and discussion proactively. Guillaume Swiggers. Guillaume is the CEO of Deloitte. I have tremendous respect. He's a bit of a pioneer in terms of digital leadership. But what he does here is, okay, this week Gerhard and I have been interviewed on a Finnish magazine. The topic, how do you get an organisation of your size to be so innovative? What do we say to them? And he got 19 replies. And he actually does use them. He does this all the time. He says, I'm talking about this topic at a lunch. What do I need to talk about? And suddenly his talk's written for him. He just organises it, so much less work. But you've got the CEO. So it could be an analyst straight out of university, first real job. I have the opportunity to express my opinion to the CEO and it'll be listened to. NRMA, same thing. So Christine, true or false, when you give way to sign turning right, you must slow down. You must slow down, but not come to a complete stop. And then she goes on to say how she failed her Ps because of an error she made in this area. The NRMA free to go guys come back and say it's hard to comment without seeing exactly what happened, but you correct that it's a giveaway sign, blah, 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 and go on to talk about how actually maybe she can avoid it next time. So these guys are taking an active leadership role in progressing the people within their community. And it actually, again, it opens up the community. People think they're talking to a person. And so people are much more likely to contribute and to express their opinion about their products. The next one is culture of trust. And as I was saying, this one could have been part of leadership. Has anyone seen this Seinfeld episode where he's talking about how the number one fear that people have is public speaking? Yep, even more than death. And he makes the joke that people would rather be the guy in the casket than the one delivering the eulogy. Putting a comment on a social media network evokes that same fear. You're putting yourself out there. So you've got to realise that people are actually already hesitant to contribute to your community. So if you don't have trust, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay. When I was at Deloitte, I found this awesome radio series. I thought it was awesome on the